Space Station 13. Statistically speaking, murders on this game are affecting the world worse than any other historical tragedy. The online murder victims suffer from time wasted, frustration, and logging out. During our investigation, we will get a chance to follow real members of security on actual space stations. Now prepare to join me in watching some third-person body cam footage.
Fulp Station features one of the lowest of roleplays and highest of pops. Stations with low RP are the most crime infested, thus making them the most dangerous places to be security officers. Under these harsh conditions, you can easily get away with corruption, meaning fun is inevitable. Hello, let me introduce myself. Sam Windpipe is my first name, and I already don't feel welcomed here. For starters, I witnessed a man get dragged out from under a vending machine. His spine may have been crushed, but his spirit wasn't. The snack dispenser was a bloodthirsty transaction seeker willing to trade harvested organs for a smushed carcass. Speaking of unfair exchanges, a group of rapscallions tried using a set of people crushers to block security's main entrance. Well, SEC has been defunded for a while now. We don't even have tasers anymore. Instead, we basically have water guns that take far too many shots to slip someone. You'd be better off with a banana in your holster. After getting some help and struggling a bit, I finally made an arrest. Then I gave the prisoner some celebratory punches. The head of security saw my victory speech and wasn't impressed. I was backed into a corner due to my correctional officer training exercise, so I ran away while making a comment about not listening to moths.
But no one listens to moths!
During my Heidi patrol of maintenance, I located the abandoned party room. The ghost of Chuck E. Cheese has been soaked into this carpet for birthday purposes. Experiencing that level of horror called for upgraded weaponry. Unfortunately, a laser gun can't protect you from yourself. Especially if your feeble stun gun runs out of ammo and your only option is to use lethal force. Criminal scum should not receive a get out of jail free card just because a cop is ill equipped.
Oh well, crybabies!
In this case, the good guy won and the evil doer went to prison. Of course, getting caught in the crossfire of justice happens often when you join the secure ranks. You might even see the HOP under fire for whatever funny shit he did with his all access. Also, you better be ready to put out fires in the brig since the police station is usually what the bored LARPing misfits burn first. Meanwhile, back on the streets, I gunned down a doctor and a mime. Amongst the boys, these two kills would earn me roughly 650 badass cop points. I then made an arrest because someone in red told me to. Once the person who I assumed was a murderous rapist said that he did nothing, I had to let him go. I continued to hand out blue lasers along with cuffed wrists. Both of these gifts were delivered to this green rug that threatened me, though I didn't have the heart to go full on shit-curity. Mentally, the undetermined safe word was dropped, so I uncuffed him after just a couple of hits. The brig was still on fire. I thought if I went somewhere else the flames would burn out since I'm not around to impress. However, reports of folks spontaneously combusting happened right before my eyes. Matter stacked higher when a zombie revealed itself. At least it was asleep. The real issue became these two corporate motherfuckers from Nano Trazyn. They wanted to inspect our station and its ethics. I sat in on the boring meeting without blowing my brains out. Apparently these law-abiding key pushers thought the AI was horny for shocked flesh, and that SEC was part of an inside job to sabotage the station. At least that's how I interpreted the rudeness of our moth overlord that was willing to talk all that shit in front of me and the hologram. Remember, I don't listen to moths, so all that food for thought was merely popcorn I tossed at the screen as I reached for the snow caps that taste like nothing but contain rap lyrics and movie quotes. Then the CEO of Space said to set me to arrest. I was confused and concerned. I replied by saying, "Sounds like someone is getting killed," which sounds like a threat, though coincidentally I did hear someone screaming in the distance. Back at the brig, what was left of security got together for a little powwow. The boss wanted to scold us while our surrounding area went up in flames. We were instructed to stay there and die instead of evacuating from the station. Again, the same moth rule really applies here. Don't listen to them, because they're inconsiderate about the well-being of authentic people. Doors also wanted to see me perish. Nevertheless, I arrived in the safe carrying lap of public transportation. It's only dangerous if someone pulls out their weapon, or dick. For my next shift, I decided to become a detective. No training or promotion required. I just clicked on the box that said detective. The job included the same duties of a security officer, only you ask more questions. Normally you would smash a bug for trying to sneak in through an open door. I've learned it's better to talk to them in order to avoid insect stains. My first investigation began with observing a gang of hooded gentlemen. I told them what was on my mind. You guys look creepy. I then reported my findings to my colleagues. I think the robe-wearing gang is full of harmless shit posters. That being said, I will still keep an eye on them. Before my message could even fade away, I saw the hoodie mob jumping someone. The beatdown seemed deserved since the guy was calling them nerds. Murder may have been going too far, but I didn't have the firepower to stop them. I had to wait patiently and watch as they committed crimes. Well, technically I didn't have to. However, it was the move here. No move. Sit back and relax. After witnessing the violence firsthand, I changed my tune about criminals. We should consider Black Robe Gang a threat. I charged directly at the threat by going undercover. Sort of secretive, the cult guys knew I was the detective, but they didn't know I planned on double-crossing them. Still, I had to stand back and do nothing as they punched innocent villagers out of existence. Waiting for the chance to strike was hard, while stenching on the radio was easy. They're at cargo. Need backup. One security officer came and got his ass whooped. In exchange, I was able to make a single arrest. The interrogation was more of a contest to see who can type the fastest and the loudest between two idiots, since I didn't have someone to play the good cop. This genius knew that anytime you're arrested for assault, always claim self-defense. It's the perfect alibi. His intelligence and the fact that I had him in custody made me believe he was the ringleader of the gang. Honestly, I was just making up a reason for the arrest, because I wanted to put a stop to this pseudo-cult before it gets too real. Later on, I noticed that the captain was in trouble. The HOP was having a bad day too, since fellows from the working class, including some robots, wanted to kill all of our leaders. Perhaps a revolution was occurring. The doors that separated me from the enemy were locked. I can only provide emotional support from certain angles. Next, one of the doors electrocuted me. I thought if I timed my attempt when the lightning bolt disappeared, then the door would open. Well, clearly I'm a lab rat forever set up this gag. Shortly thereafter, a Sekborg rushed me and this Mothman. I nearly annihilated Officer Segway before it slid away in fear. Then the person I was trying to survive with said that they were a Ling. I told them that was fine with me. Of course that was a lie. I don't want no nasty Ling foaming at the tail ready to stab me in the back for my precious DNA. So I shot him dead with my exclusive crime-solving revolver. That ammo would have been helpful a few seconds later when the blood-sucking vacuum swooped in and got the stunning drop on me. I laid there on the cold floor as the warm touch of murder stimulated my body. My last words were that of an angry man, baby, who didn't get his way. I'm now taking up the name Brutus Bull. I'm still a member of the security force on Fulp Station, with the same voice and same intentions. I spent most of the shift viewing the security cameras. I thought I stumbled upon a human trafficking operation. When I asked the botanist what he was doing with those naked people, my superior told me not to kink shame. My investigation continued and I discovered that Botany was giving these lost souls to the kitchen for human meat extraction. Though it turns out that everything was completely legal since Botany was growing artificial people and not kidnapping real ones. While I watched live leaks, everyone else was grabbing all of the guns off the shelves. The only thing I can get my hands on was a second squirt gun. I had to go elsewhere for my lethals. A few laser guns scratching the toned back of cargo meant returned favors delivered my way. Those two laser guns I had acquired were already obsolete dead weight in my backpack armory due to the advanced energy gun I just copped. I actually had a reason for getting armored and gunned up. Not to look cool, there were reports that nuke operatives were attacking our station. Our introduction to the enemy was an ebony machine that surrendered to us. Of course, some of the more partisan crew members wouldn't allow such a solution. They wanted scrap metal, not a black box that talks to you. Finally, I got some action when a forceful man shot me in my helmet head right before he vanished. Me and a squad of volunteer security searched for that syndicate agent. All we found was a giant hole in our prison, larger than any ravaged gaping turret exit. On a lighter note, a group of adults with jobs decided to drop everything to start worshipping vending machines. Their religion relating to snacks awakened the smoke of judgment, a mist that appears rarely when you make a terrible decision. Here we are at the end. I'm gonna burn for thinking 2 crimes make a law, though it was all worth it. I enjoy Fulp Station. It claims to be medium RP, and yeah, people roleplay, but they aren't forcing down your throat with ridiculous characters and detailed passages describing themselves. Plus the rounds don't last forever. There are plenty of enjoyable antics going on to keep my attention. I truly wonder, what exactly is medium RP? Obviously low RP is code for no roleplay, while heavy RP is Hebrew for all of the roleplay. I tried manual, TG's Westside roleplay server, and it was alright. The gameplay felt similar to a TG Basil, only chilled out on medication. It wasn't awful, just slower pacing and more dialogue like a director's cut. Eventually I'll cut some rounds out of this server, but the only major highlights from my time as a security officer there were getting guns, doing jack shit, and adopting a corgi. Now, let's journey to one of the high roleplay servers I'm not banned from, Bay Station. Don't worry, it's not me filling out paperwork for 3 hours. Some events and wacky comedy occur. I assume heavy RP is probably the easiest part of town to be a cop, since admins do majority of the policing for you. Let's find out together, or you can. I already learned everything there is to know after playing one round. My new name is Kobe Jordan. Don't address me as anything else. I'm tall, white, good at basketball, and I remind you of your uncle for some reason. I spawned into a room full of Lamborghini beds. In the space station world, I'm the Brig Chief, which is just a fancy way of saying warden. A few minutes into my shift, I was given the opportunity to be an objectiveless trader. I could do whatever I want, within the rules. My novelty treason gear included a personal shield against government-induced suicide. Also, I have some other complex doohickeys that I'll never understand. Guns. These are your main source for acquiring high scores. When I stepped into the armory, I was an able-bodied man. Now I'm walking out with a cane in order to prepare for my crippling misfires, such as getting trapped in the engineering department. I waited like an eager dog for somebody to let me out. As soon as the door opened, I bolted for confined hallway freedom. I was free to try and fuck my captain. Kobe Jordan places his gas mask on Morgan's shoulder and sniffs him. Smelling good. Kobe Jordan stares at him from across the room.
Senior Explorer, allow me to speak very frankly. What the fuck?
What?
Why would you walk behind your commanding officer and just sniff them through your gas mask and tell them they're smelling good?
Because it's how I show respect.
A piece of advice, Senior Explorer? Find a better way.
Kobe Jordan salutes with both hands. Botany might have to become my new home. I don't think the other Sekas liked me.
Chief Jordan, I need to talk to you. Urgently.
At this point, I've done nothing wrong. My only misdeed so far is when I got a package earlier that I was supposed to deliver, but the necklace inside was too nice to pass on. It didn't take long for me to get tired of the damn chain. I wound up leaving it as a tip for the bartender. Now I'm officially on the run. I don't know what I did or whose pubic area I greased, but my fellow policemen wanted me alive. While hiding in the club for maintenance tunnel owners, one of the sec boys found me. I wanted to shoot him, though at the time I didn't know Bay Code had hyper-realistic gun safety features. He left me alone, probably to go snitch. I then used darkness as protection, which evolved into these long-ass laser beams once I learned about the importance of safety toggling. This security officer wasn't touched by the cancer ray, however the radiation emitted is powerful enough to dissolve a generation of bull sperm, so I hope he doesn't need all of his organs to work. After that fiasco, I hid inside my weed closet to help grow my chance for evasion. Security knew I was hiding on this farm. When one of the lawful drones passed by, I came out of the locker room with sloppy footwork and a bad shot. Still, I put one of the defenders down while his teammate gave my ankles a stunning. I was arrested, cuffed to a chair, and had my guns taken away. Most people would call this an American's worst nightmare. But deep down, really, it's every patriotic U.S. aider's bondage fantasy to submit to the terrorist. Goon will be the next rough neighborhood we patrol. Here my name is Quentin Jackwright and I'm a traitor detective. Wrapped around my waist is a championship wrestling belt. This glorious title grants me a ferocious moveset. With my remaining antagonist cash, I bought a sleeping pin. In terms of prizes, it was a pencil, while this remote control car gave me the ability to suplex anyone, so I think it's obvious which one I prefer. The kick and strike were easy to execute on undeserving citizens. A brief cooldown prevents spamming, yet when you put enough fear in someone's heart, they just stay away and give you a moment to recharge. I started hitting my victim with normal punches, which caused them to explode and turn into a crown that's fit for someone looking to get possessed by a demon. Soon I found another weakling to bully. I managed to pull off an amazing spin throw that landed this helpless geek head first into a wall. I left the sore loser on his back because WrestleMania was too much for his broke ass. Now when he walks, he does it lying down. Slamming bones onto hard surfaces was in my blood. I felt invincible until a wizard came along and smoked me out. There was another wizard in the brig. I fled because magic has a much longer reach than wrestling. My muscles flexed as I re-entered the room with range in the form of my revolver. More than a karate chop was needed when that shape-shifting projectile launching spider could be anywhere. I still had to keep my intimidation presentation sharper than a dull knife-wielding robber. Getting a hold of an opponent is quite the task. If you do, then a combo breaker can be hit. When battling the wizard, I could only nail him with my boot in hand. I did at least make him retreat into slush. I think a bystander stole his wand. Never mind, the magic man was still packing heat and chucking ball-shaped missiles around. The spell keeps people at bay and away. If the imagination goo touches you, then all your thoughts and ideas become homoerotic. You won't be able to get anything done. You'll just lie there fantasizing about men. Once I saw the wizard again, I gave him 2 bullets accompanied by another accidentally for the guy he was picking on. Afterwards, I inhaled some mysterious gas. Shit either got me high or gave me brain damage. Maybe a little bit of both, but you must learn to live and let go. My fight with the wizard continued. During this segment, he shut off the lights and I chose to blast blindly in his direction. The chase didn't stop. I followed the wizard the best I could, and he capitalized on that with a well-placed fireball. Damn, I lost. And I was sentenced to death via being a flipped-over turtle in sunlight under a magnifying glass.
You got him, Bo. Yeah. Use laser guns on the fire-breathing dragon.
What am I gonna use? Water gun?
There's a fire axe.
Does that work better?
Better than a laser gun.
Well,